In this video, I'm going to go over the procedure to connect PowerSDR, which you see here running, up to third-party PC programs like WSJT-X or a logging program, VspMgr, FreeDV, whatever program, and they usually require two connections. One is a virtual audio channel, which is right here VAC, and we got two different VAC loops we can run in PowerSDR, but it requires virtual audio cable, kind of like the old-fashioned RCA cables, but in this case it's virtual, and a CAT connection, which is like a serial port, in this case a virtual serial port connection from PowerSDR to the program. So that way PowerSDR can send commands to the program can send commands to PowerSDR, like frequency, mode, things like that. So first thing is, when I launch PowerSDR, I always launch it in compatibility mode, run as administrator, Windows 7. The reason being is if we need to update the time clock in the spotting screen, the time sync button, if I want to do it over the internet, in order to change the PC time clock, I have to give the PC, I got to give PowerSDR the authorization to change the time clock on the PC. So that's what that's all about. Next program you want to install is VspMgr. You can search for it on my website. The 64-bit version is signed. It's free for ham radio use. And so when you run it, though, again, compatibility mode, because it's an older program, XP, Windows XP Service Pack 3, and admin mode is what you're going to want to run it as. And you're going to want to create a bunch of COM port pairs depending upon how many programs you run simultaneously. And this is showing you the list that I have made. Now these right here, these three would be USB to serial cables that are plugged into my computer. I use COM port 2 for high gain antenna rotor control, which I'll show you. But these other COM port pairs, it's showing you when you hit the refresh button, it'll show you who's connected to these COM ports. And over here's where you create the pairs, and it's showing you, I mean, graphically what it is. It's literally is each end is a COM port, because only one program can plug into that virtual connection. PowerSDR is on COM 11, which means some other program can be COM 10. My logging program is on 14, and PowerSDR is on 15. And if I run the setup program here, the CAT, you'll see the other end of them, and you can put names in here. WSJT-X is 19, and over here 18 is paired with 19, and then WSJT-X is right here. I've already got it running, so this is already running. And how we connect up is in the settings. You go to radio, and in this case for PowerSDR we select Kenwood TS2000. It seems to work the best with WSJT-X, and there's COM port 18. The baud rate is fine as far as connecting up. Whichever establishes the connection first is going to set the baud rate. So as long as it's either 57600 or 115200, some older programs won't run this higher baud rate. You could PTT using CAT commands, or a little faster is another COM port pair. This is COM port 7. Over here is COM port 6. If you look on the list from VspMgr, there it is. So if I hit the refresh, and it's not showing it, but that's connected right there. And so that establishes the CAT connection, so it knows the frequency I'm on, which is 7074, and it's listing 7074. So the next thing after the CAT, and this works, I mean, like I said, this is for anything that needs a CAT connection. You just enable it after you put it in there, give it a name so you don't forget what it is. The next thing is the virtual audio cable. That's the second part of the connection. Typically, logging program's not going to need it, but WSJT-X obviously needs audio to flow back and forth. So we switch. In this case, I can just right-click on the VAC. It'll take me right to the actual program. I'm using Setup B, and also I like to use the Windows Sound Manager so I can see the cables I've got, and it's showing you like the playback and the recording devices I've got listed. I got a headset which I'm talking to you on right now, which has its own microphone, which you're seeing the audio level here. But I've downloaded VB Audio's VB cable, and that just appears as a cable, and it uses the same name for both playback and recording. This VB audio cable here. So, and then I also downloaded VspMgr Banana, which the Banana part was a crazy name, but it comes with an audio EQ that I downloaded many years ago, and I don't use the EQ part of the program anymore. I just use the drivers that came with it. They're free. And in this case, it gives us two cables, two separate cables. One's the main cable and one's the aux cable. And either side of it's going to have a name. One's the input side, one's the output side, but just that's one cable, that's the second cable. So you can see audio on that, both ends of the cable. And if you come over here, you can see the output is the aux cable. I'm outputting on the aux cable, and the standard regular cable is the input. So when I go to WSJT-X or any of the programs, I want to go to the audio, and the inputs and outputs should be opposites. So the output here is the aux cable versus the input over here is the aux cable, and vice versa. So this is just a standard cable on the output from WSJT-X is going to be the input over here in PowerSDR. And just so you know, WSJT-X people leave this running for hours at a time, and there'll get to be a lag involved over time. You know, where you're not spot on with the DT. So one way to avoid that is to simply use Vox. Enable Vox, and don't use in the settings, don't use any of this, just use Vox. And Vox will eliminate the lag. Every time it transmits, it'll resync itself, and you'll never have any kind of lag involved. But that's it. So now you've got the virtual audio cable, and you've got the virtual serial ports, which are part of cat control here. So you got a whole bunch here. And then in my case, I've got rotor control, which is COM2, which is actual USB to serial cable plugged into my computer. And the way that works is in the spotting screen right here. I can put in a number to rotate my antenna, like 20 degrees, and then hit the rotor, and then now it'll start to actually rotate my antenna up on the roof.